week I talked about getting started, like where do you start? And that's all about planning your renovation. So asking yourself whether you're staying or leaving, getting really clear on the purpose of your renovation, thinking about your lifestyle and kids and who's going to be using that property, doing all of the research and actually, just getting past the fear of mucking up on a renovation. So I think that's part one, is planning the renovation and really mapping out what that renovation is going to be. Part two, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about today, is calculating your profit. If you're staying in a house, you can convert that message to running the numbers, like running decent figures. I'll say it, you've heard me say it before, and I say it quite often, and I said it on this morning's meetup with my group, that the numbers don't lie, and you should never assume that just because you're creating something newer looking from something old, that you're renovating, that you're going to end up in a position where you've made profit, that the money that you've spent, the renovation costs, are going to be covered. It's really wrong to assume that. I've seen lots of people do all the wrong things on a renovation, spend way too much, and end up in a position where they lose money. So that's what I'm all about preventing, right? It's more than anything, I think, it's okay to show everybody how to renovate, but it's equally important to stop people from doing really dumb things. So, all right. So in the end, it's all down to the numbers. So what types of things do I look for when I'm running numbers on a property, when I'm calculating the profit? And this can be done before you purchase a property. So when you're at the point where you're very keen, when you've had a really good look through a property, you might even done some measurements. You might even have done a really good, list of things that need repairing. You might have had your builder on site to check out the property. You're at that point of researching, or you may have already bought your first home. It's at that point that you start to do your list. If you're looking at purchasing a property, what my guys use is a finding your property checklist. So we know we're buying the right property in the first place, that it has a good layout, that it's in a great area, and we can check all of those things off our checklist in the first place. The second thing is we have access to really good renovation calculator, a really good calculator. If you've never done a renovation before, it's very important that you can estimate what it's going to cost to fix up the things that you identify in that property. So that's number two. Number three is to fill out a property condition report. So in our reports, it actually contains a great big list in order of priority of what needs fixing in that property. So you know where your money is going to be prioritized as soon as you end up at a point of purchase, or when you're going through to do your final numbers, which brings me to the next point. It's really crucial to run a detailed feasibility report. This will help you put together your order of works for the renovation. But a really good feasibility report will look at the property room by room. It will look at each item that needs to be upgraded or replaced. It will look at the cost of doing that, including all the tradie costs. So guys, it's super important that you run these accurate numbers before you buy a property, and it's certainly makes my tummy churn when I hear of people buying property assuming that because it's old and it needs fixing up, that they're going to get in there, fix it up, and they're going to make some profit without doing these numbers. Once you've done these numbers, the fear factor where people think, oh God, have I done the right thing or not? When you've run the numbers and you can see that there is that beautiful margin for profit, that your property is going to be worth more than you've paid for it. So that's the price plus the renovation spend. It's going to be worth way more in the end. Then there's like, oh, calm. There's calm, right? You just don't feel the same angst. So yeah, those numbers are really important. Things to be included as well: the cost of buying, things like stamp duty, like the finance, the cost to getting finance, purchase price of the property itself, any solicitor's fees. The costs of renovating also include people that you might have to call on site to give you expert advice and provide certificates and supervision. So architects, surveyors, electrical costs, plumbers, because you can't do that stuff yourself, right? Builders for some of the major works. So all of these things have to be factored in before you start the reno. And, you know, basically there's costs inside of Reno and there's also costs outside of Reno, and you really just can't miss a thing. So guys, thank you for those who've turned up live, and I can see you on here. Hi, Anita. Hi, Theo. It's really nice to have you here. And others, catch up on the recording in the Mums and Dads group or on YouTube. I hope I've helped you list out the things that you need to consider. You know, you've got to take it all, or you've got to understand it all up front, do your numbers up front before you actually take those action steps. And that's when, you know, that's when you see people do renovation after renovation and they make profit and they seem calm about the whole process. This is why they've done all of the feasibility reports. They're all sorted on paper before they go and take the action. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Bye. Cheers, guys.